Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs, and thank you, Admiral, for the testimony. I've been a big supporter of the Coast Guard for years, and I'm proud to say that I've watched the Coast Guard with 2 bases when I first started 48 years ago. Now I got probably more bases than any place in the United States, and because we got more water, that helps out. But I want to thank you for your comments on Kodiak, and that leads us to my question. There was $429 million for projects in the infrastructure bill, where I learned why I was a trader and a few other things. But how do you plan on spending that money? Or you mentioned Kodiak. Is there any other areas in Alaska that you would be interested in expanding the role of the Coast Guard?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. We are excited about expanding our operations in Alaska. Our people love to serve up in that state, and they love to serve the people of that state. And we're excited about sending 6 of our FRCs up there. We're working on home ports for those in Ketchikan and Kodiak and Sitka and Seward. The bill that you mentioned has some money specifically marked for additional housing in Kodiak, which is going to be vital as we move OPCs up there. So we're building out that home port. And then, future investment in Alaska is getting Kodiak ready for the OPCs and the FRCs. We have just recently cut the contract that will make Ketchikan a temporary home port for the FRC that will eventually end up in Sitka. We expect that home port to be built out by FY24. That hull gets delivered this fiscal year. So we're moving into Alaska, and we really appreciate your support.
I appreciate the answer, too. There's a little what you call regional conflict because we're looking at icebreakers and other Coast Guard vessels, and some people in the lower 48 want them stationed there, which is a long ways away. It costs a lot of money. We have facilities in Alaska, and I'm proud to hear that you're talking about the housing. That's one of our biggest challenges to the Coast Guard Corps, is making sure we have the proper housing for the people that are wives and children, where the crewmen can go out and do the rescue work and identification. What about the St. Paul Island? Have you made any decisions yet, or are you going to make one on utilizing it as an operational capacity?
And we absolutely like to operate out of St. Paul as one of the 3 forward operating locations that we utilize, particularly when we know where the fishing fleet's going to be, and we need to have an enhanced search and rescue posture. As you know, we had a fire at the facility there about 2 years ago, so we need to rebuild it. That work is contracted. It should be completed by this coming spring. And then we have a couple issues with the hangar there, which is not Coast Guard owned, but we're negotiating with the landlord to get some improvements there. So we hope to be back into that forward operating location early next year.
Now, one of the things that concerns me is that for the first time, we have the military, Air Force, and Navy, and actually the Navy used to be up there, but starting to consider the Arctic. Are you all working together as a Arctic decision-making group, or are you separated programs? And go ahead.
Well, yeah, we have joint service talks on all of the theaters of operation. In the Arctic, we work most closely with the Army Corps of Engineers, of course, but our commanders in the 17th Coast Guard District are coordinating with their peers across the services, on a daily basis.
Yeah, Admiral, the reason my interest in this for the members of the committee, a lot of activity in the Arctic now, but mainly that's where the minerals are that we need to utilize for the new society. Graphite, lithium, the whole bit is up there. And China is very actively involved in the Arctic, and they have nothing to do with it, but they're there. And Russia, of course, is way ahead of us in the icebreaking capability. We hear a lot about icebreakers. I've supported it. I want to have an icebreaker. Here's money to build one. But the biggest thing we need is to support facilities, Port Clarence, even as far north as Barrow, Kodiak you talked about already, St. Paul. I can go down Nome, because this is the big issue in the future of America is the Arctic. And you're going to play a major role, like I say, you always have. We've given you a lot of responsibilities over the years, and sometimes haven't funded you quite a few times. And this is our role in this committee to make sure you get the proper funding. And your mission is really dedicated to what your mission is charged with: rescue, search, and protection. So I do appreciate your work with the Coast Guard. And for those in the audience, thank you. And for the Admiral, thank you for your testimony, Mr. Chairman. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you.